There are a number of challenges associated with evaluation in the the new digital world. One of them is simply just having a lot more things to evaluate, and that always makes things difficult. Another problem is to do with the philosophy, if you like, of how you evaluate digital stuff. In the early days of online marketing, evaluation was all done by a sort of classic direct response type paradigm. So you sort of go look at people who were exposed to for example, a banner ad, look at the number of people who click on it and count the clicks. So it was very much like a sort of like evaluating direct mail, for instance, in a way. And generally, the digital paradigm has been to sort of follow the customer journey, if you like. But that doesn't work for a whole load of digital stuff, like, for example, social media. This is the classic example. Social media is not primarily a direct response kind of affair. Social media is much more like evaluating the effects of word of mouth, really, except that you have much richer data on it. And so people who've been brought up to evaluate digital activity through direct response type techniques are kind of flummoxed by that. But actually, evaluating the effects of social media is not necessarily that much harder to do than measuring the effects of TV or posters. If you use things like econometric techniques.
I mean, the interesting thing is that the IPA data is just getting to the point where it's beginning to suggest that the better value of social media is as a brand building tool, not as a short-term kind of sales activation tool. Trouble is, all the metrics that have been built around that new channel since it was invented have all been about short-term sales, and that's not fundamentally where it works best. So you do need to get back to time and tried and trusted techniques that Les refers to, such as econometric modelling, that can extract the long-term benefit of that, but view it as a long-term tool, not trying to expect it to be a short-term sales activator, because that's not the best way it delivers.
And on the subject of reach, it is absolutely crucial with all digital channels to measure reach properly. And this is because one of the big conclusions from our research and from Byron Sharp's research and from lots of other empirical research is that reach is crucial for effectiveness. And if you don't hit enough people, you're not going to sell enough stuff. And this is a problem with a lot of social activity, that the numbers are really small. You're talking to thousands of people. Thousands is a small number. I mean, Diageo have a rule, I believe, that anything that touches less than 1 million people is not worth doing. Minimum is what is the entry point. I think it's quite encouraging, for instance, that now that Nielsen are starting to produce a way of measuring the impact of social, which is very similar to GRPs. So what percentage of your target audience is interacting with this and how often. So you can look at sort of reach and coverage and frequency and GRPs in the same way as you could with traditional advertising media. And when you do that, then you have a way of gauging whether it's likely to work at all.